Before you start creating your masterpieces here in CorelDRAW X4, it's important that we talk about pages, working with multiple pages in a document, modifying page layout, and even using guidelines and snap to options to make life easy for you when it comes to lining up objects on your page. So we're going to look at all three of those things in this chapter before we move into the next chapter where you'll start creating. So you can see I've actually opened up a file here. It's called bistrosign2.cdr. Looks a lot like the file we were working with in the previous lesson, but this one's in the Lesson 2 folder of your exercise files. So if you've got them and you want to follow along, open it up. As I look down below on my status bar here, just above the status bar, I see that I'm on page 1, and there is only one page. It's a one-page document. Well, one of the great advantages of CorelDRAW over some of the other applications out there is that you can have multiple pages, and each of those pages can be different layouts. So for example, with our green onion scenario here where we've created our bistro sign that's probably going to go in the window, we might also want to create a menu for our customers and maybe business cards to hand out to those customers. Well, we could have all three of those in one file. Nice and convenient, nice and easy to find and organize. So we're going to talk about creating multiple pages first, and then as we move through the lessons in this chapter, we'll look at modifying the page layout and using those guidelines and snap to options to help you when it comes to adding objects to the page. So I've got a one-pager here, and we already know from our tour of the user interface that down below in the bottom left corner here, I've got navigation buttons. I'm on page 1 of 1. The navigation buttons are not selectable right now because I only have one page. But what's important is that I've got these little plus signs on the left and the right for adding pages. So in our scenario where we want to create a business card and a menu, we need 2 more pages. So we have the option now of inserting those pages before or after the current page. So if I click this little plus sign on the left, I get a new page 1. Page 1 is selected. It's blank by default. And if I go to page 2 by clicking on the page 2 tab, I see my original page. Now if I wanted a page after this, I click on the plus sign over here on the right hand side of the navigation buttons. Now I've got a page 3 which is also blank. I've got a page 2 tab down here, but I can't see the page 1 tab currently. Notice I'm on page 3 of 3, and now I can use my navigation buttons to move through the pages one at a time. I can move right to the end by clicking the arrow with the line after it, or right to the beginning by clicking the arrow with the line in front of it. And if I want to go directly to a page, I can click on the tab if I can see it. Now, if you have many pages and you want to be able to see more tabs, you can also click and drag this little border here between your horizontal scroll bar and the page tabs. You can click and drag this off to the right a little bit, so if I needed to add more pages, I'd be able to see those tabs down here. The other thing you can do is change the name of your tabs. And a neat little trick with anything, including your page tabs, is to right-click with your mouse. So clicking the right mouse button displays a menu. I'm going to go to page 1 here and right-click. Notice I have some options here. I can rename the page. It's currently called page 1. I can insert another page after or before this page. I can duplicate this page, delete the page if I don't want it, switch the orientation, and use Publish Page to Concept Share, something we'll talk about later on. Well, let's say I want to delete this page. I'm going to delete it right now. Removes it. I'm down to 2 pages. I'm on page 1. I want to insert the page after. Now we can also move pages around too if we wanted to, just by clicking and dragging these tabs. But now I've got page 1 is my sign. Page 2 is going to be my menu, and page 3 is going to be my business card. So I'm going to go back to page 1 and right click again. This time choose Rename Page. And all I have to do is type in whatever I want here. I'm going to type in window sign like so and click OK. And that's the name of my tab now, page 1. I'm going to right click on page 2 and rename it. Even though there's nothing there right now, this is the page that I want to reserve for my menu. So I click OK. And that's my menu tab. And I'm going to right click on page 3, rename that one to business card. I can hit enter or click OK. And that's locked in. So now I've got my window sign, my menu, and my business card pages ready to work with. So once you've got your multiple pages and you're comfortable moving around those pages, the next thing we'll need to explore is changing the page layouts. I mentioned earlier that we can have different page layouts for different pages in a single file. And I love that feature, and that's exactly what we're going to explore in the next lesson.